YouTube. Back at you again with another video. In this video, we talking about spark plugs. All right, YouTube. So the spark plugs I decided to go with are the CR9Es. Man, you can pretty much put whatever spark plugs you want in your bike, but these are the ones I decided to go with. And there's a variety of different places you can get spark plugs. You don't necessarily have to get them from the place I got them from. So I'm not gonna put a link in the description below from where I got these spark plugs from, but they cost me $4.95 for one spark plug. You can guess where I got it from, cool, if not. Let's keep it moving, man. So the one thing that I would ask that you don't have to look for this because you can take the tops off, is these spark plugs already come with the top piece taken off. I don't know how to explain this part right here, but if you've changed spark plugs on a motorcycle before, the top piece has to be that inner part only, not the car version of this spark plug. And I decided to go with the NGKRs. The model number is here. I don't know what type they are. And we're gonna put these in the bike today. I don't know I do know, I have an idea of what's in the bike right now, but the one thing that I'm looking for the most is that the burns are consistent across all four. That's the one thing I'm gonna be looking for the most when I take out the spark plugs in the bike, and we're gonna go with these. Even though I got my ECU flash, I've taken just too long to replace my spark plugs. So let's get started, shall we? On the bike, I'm not gonna bore you with what to take off. I'm just gonna do a speed all the way through to where we're at when it comes to taking out the spark plugs, all the way up to the coil packs, if you will. But you just kind of watch the video, listen to some music while I do this part. All right, YouTube, so what you want to do next is you want to pop off all of the coil pack connectors. This is so dummy proof. If you get this wrong, all right, so then once you do this, what I usually do is I usually twist them to break them loose, and then we're gonna pull them straight up out of there. So you can do it in any order. I'm gonna start here and work my way across. Because if you really look at the design of how this is set up, this is the toughest to get to, and then these three are the easiest to get to. All right, YouTube, so now that I've already popped all these loose, you can go ahead and take these out, but I don't like to do it like that. What I like to do is I take the coil packs out just so they can stay in orientation with their plugs. I just do one spark plug at a time. Once I take this spark plug out, I put the new one in, I put this coil pack back together, and I go to the next one. My main goal though is always to loosen everything first, because you don't want to have any frustrations or headaches. Let's say you change out these three and you can't get that last one off, or you break this last one. Now you kind of did all the work and you have to take your bike to a shop. You know what I mean? You still got a bad one in there, and I like them all to be used or burned or whatever at the same time, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna take this spark plug out first, because obviously it's the toughest and the hardest one to get to. And then look at that bad boy in there. Let me see if I can get closer, and you see it? So let's take that one out first. We'll work on that one, and then we'll go on to the next one. So take your coil pack. I tend to just lay it somewhere. And then the size of socket you'll need, if I'm not mistaken, is a 5/8 socket. 5/8, and then make sure it has that rubber piece inside to grab the spark plug. All right, so let me show you how my technique as far as like getting it out of there. So what I like to do is, if I can, I'll connect the first one. Especially on this bike, there's so much room inside the sub cage that you can easily get to it. But what I do is I put it together like this. I just drop it on in there like that. But see, it's too short still. So I just grab my other extension, add it onto it, and then that spark plug is gonna come right out. But obviously for this point, I need both hands. So let me see. I may not need both hands. Let's see. Yeah, you see, it was really loose. So you don't always need both hands. And the same thing when it comes to tightening them. You don't have, I don't know why some people, they change their spark plugs and they over tighten the spark plug, man. And then the next time you try to take it out, it's a nightmare. You just wanna seal, you wanna make sure no air can get out. That's the main thing. All that over tightening stuff I be seeing people do to their spark plugs, man, I'd be like, wow. Whoever owns that bike or car next are gonna regret life. Cause it's loose, it just needs to come out. There it is. All right, so let's go look at this spark plug together. And most of the times when you change out the spark plug, this is what they normally look like. Now, if you see oil or anything else, or they're wet, then you know there's an issue there. Yeah, so let's take this one out. Let's put the new one in. Doesn't matter which order or which one. Yeah, man, and I make these videos because I try to keep it to where people are not afraid to work on their own bike. It's not scary. Nothing about what I'm doing is scary. And if something does go wrong, I am prepared to like take it to a shop if need be, do what it takes to get it back running again. But I'm not afraid to go into the bike. I'm not afraid to break the bike down if need be. But I don't think anyone should be afraid either. All right, I need two hands for this part, so I'm gonna change out the next one, and then I'll show you what it looks like up close, and then we'll just keep going. See you in a second. I almost put the spark plug in the bike without even using any anti-seize. You don't have to use anti-seize. Anti-seize is something that's usually recommended, but I'm using anti-seize because I don't want to have any issues taking it off in the future. Try to keep it away from this top portion here, because this is where it usually burns, as you can see on the old one. As you can see on the old one, it kind of burns a little bit past that thread, because this spark plug actually sticks further into the cylinder. How do I explain this part? All right, so this spark plug is further inside of the cylinder, if you look here. So if you put anti-seize all the way up in this point, it's gonna burn that off anyway. So try to keep the anti-seize like towards the back, where it's gonna grab onto the actual cylinder walls. All right, whatever. Let's get on to the next one. Let's put this one in. Torque specifications. I don't really have any. I just say don't over tighten it, just hand tight, and that's it. Go to the next one, and trust me, your bike will run just fine. All right, so boom, now we got the first spark plug in. What I do is I grab the coil pack, the one that was originally here, and I put that coil pack right back where it was, and then I go on to the next one. Should take this off. All right, so now I got two spark plugs out, and if you look at them, they're pretty much exactly the same. And they're not wet, they're just burning just like they should, I guess. But I'm just making sure that they're consistent across. I don't want to see anything irregular or off. And so far, everything is looking good. So let's go on to the next one. Take this part off. Take this rubber piece off. Don't forget your anti-seize. Again, put it towards the top of the spark plug where it's going to grab onto the cylinder head. This one-hand stuff is tough. All right, that should be more than enough, because you just wanted to get all the way around the actual spark plug. So for instance, let me give you an example. The reason why I do it like this, I only put it on one side, is because when you turn the spark plug, it's gonna wrap around the whole thing. I've been seeing some people, they grab it, they go around the whole spark plug. Then you're gonna have a whole bunch of anti-seize then you're gonna have a whole bunch of anti-seize where the washer is. Unnecessary. All right, come on, let's go to the next one. All right, boom, that one's done. That's number 2. So we'll go ahead and put the coil pack back in. And by the way, I don't fully put them or seat them just yet. I do that at the very, very end. All right, so let's go on to number 3. Number 3 is the easiest to get to. This literally just drops right in. So if you look, there's nothing in the way to get number 3. And watch, just slight turn. Never mind. There it is. All right, didn't take much though. It did not take much. If you have to use 2 hands to tighten down the spark plug, you're using too much strength. Just 1 hand. All right, so let's compare this to the third one. So far, they're all the same. Nothing is different as far as the consistency of the burns on the spark plugs. Oh man, let me take this off. All right, so if you look at number 3, there's a little bit of charness, but most of it's the same. Let's take this off. Grab a little bit of anti-seize. Just a dab is all you need. That will cover the entire spark plug. Put this one on. You know, so what I see some people do also, instead of having to do it like that, you can just take the spark plug itself, drop it down in there, and then grab the ratchet set, and then kind of like let it fall into place, and then go to tightening. You can do it like that too. But I don't know, sometimes I feel like it might cross thread. I know it's not gonna happen, but I feel like it's gonna cross thread doing it like that. So but this works just fine. Watch, no edits, no cuts, no nothing. I'm gonna drive it all the way down. All right, so now it's tight. Your coil pack, and then you go into the next one, and we just keep doing it. This last one is it's not hard. This one to me is the hardest one because of the frame of the bike. But watch, just as easy. Drop this down in there. Look all this room I have. Look all this room I have. 1 hand. If it comes off with 1 hand, it should go on with 1 hand. Just like that, see? So all that extra over tightening with 2 hands, and you guys be doing, I need a torque spec, 22 foot-pounds. No, unnecessary. It's too much. Too much. But just spark plugs, too much. Too much. All right, so now that we have our last spark plug out, we're looking at the burn on the consistency of the spark plug, and it looks exactly the same as all of them. So now I know that in my combustion chamber, I don't have any issues with oil seeping through, no mild burns or nothing like that. All right, so then we're gonna jump over to our last spark plug. I already put the anti-seize on it. Just gotta take this and put it into the bike. So let's do this. Let's close this out real quick. All right, guys, so the last spark plug is in. Drop the last coil pack in. All right, so sometimes this could be the toughest part. Sometimes it depends on the bike for real. Now we just got to push the coil packs down on top of the spark plug. All right, so I'm gonna zoom in close so you guys can see exactly what I'm referring to. All right, so what you want to disappear. All right, so what you want to disappear is those little like rings. You want it to be at the very last one. That's when you know that the spark plug is completely seated. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push down until it disappears. But I think I need 2 hands because like the position of this is tough. All right, a little bit more. There we go. All right, so you want it to look like that on all of them when you push them down. So that one is, you see how it's just 1 ring? If you look at the next one, there's 3 rings. You're gonna push it down until there's only 1 ring. So I'm gonna just use 1 hand. You don't need a lot of force. I don't know why people think you do. And push it down to where it's only 1 ring. And boom. So you see how we got 1 ring now? This is still in the way. See how we got 1 ring now? And you just keep going. All right, so once they're all in place, you go ahead and connect your coil packs. Don't turn too much. Boom, that's 1, that's 2. And listen for the click. You don't hear that click, it's not in all the way. 3, 4. Play this back over. Somebody asked me what was this for. Oh, this is for the pair valve, which I tucked away. Yeah, it's for the pair valve, which was here. Now it's deleted. Don't need it. I'm gonna put everything back together and show you guys that the bike starts up. It's gonna start up. It's gonna run like normal. Nothing's gonna be different. One more thing I have to go over with you. All right, YouTube, and that's how it's done. So a lot of you guys might be wondering, how many miles do I have when I decide to change my spark plugs? I'll show you here in a second. I have 6,500 miles. I've been changing my spark plugs on my bike, all the bikes I've had so far, at 6,500 miles. The manual recommends that you change it every 11,000 or inspect them, service them 11,000 miles. I just change them out. Why take them out, look at them, and then put them, the same ones right back in where you can just change them out. So I do it halfway only because I know that at 11,000 miles, spark plugs are still good. They're still good. But the reason why I changed mine out at that mileage is because I don't ride this bike like a scooter. I ride it like a sports bike. So if I'm beating on the bike like that, I think that it should be serviced more often versus what the manual says. I think the manual even says that you should switch gears. You should be in 6th gear at 34 miles an hour. I'm not in 6th gear at 34 miles an hour. I'm in 6th gear at like 50, 60 miles an hour. So if that's the case, they're expecting that you change out the spark plugs at a later time because you're not beating on the spark plugs of the motor like that. But I am, so I just change them out more frequently. That's how I keep the bike lasting longer too. All right, so I want to close out this video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.